Welcome to the warm-up presented by Ford. I'm Stephanie Reddy. We've got Hall of Famer Gary Payton in the building and NBA champion Brendan Haywood.
Hey there.
Hi there. Good to see you.
Hey, man, what's wrong with you?
Man, because you got me freezing in here, man.
It feels great in here, man.
Shoot.
Hey, man, I missed you too,
I did. I missed you too.
Welcome to Tuesdays at the warm-up. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, we got 4 games in the NBA tonight. Some really good ones, in fact. Jokic, we talked about him a little down compared to last year, right?
Yeah, about 4 points down, Steph, and, it's a little different.
It is a little different, trying to strike gold after losing 4 of 5 for the Nuggets. And Ben Simmons, people want him to shoot more, but I will ask you guys this as the show develops. Is he doing enough? I mean, he's 4th in the NBA in assists, 1st in steals. Ben Simmons, he produces.
He's doing right. Be a point guard.
Another level he can get to, though.
Yeah.
Here we go, home sweet home. Unbeaten home records this season. Philadelphia 76ers 12-0. Look at the point differential at the bottom. That looks terrific. Heat, as we mentioned, 10-0. Boston Celtics also 10-0 at home. These are the only remaining teams that are undefeated at home. Significant advantage or no with home court play?
Well, I think when you go into somebody's building and you make a statement saying that you can't beat me in here, and especially in the playoffs, if you go in a 7-game series and you got the home court advantage and nobody can beat you at home, what that means? You got 4 games at home, they got 3 at home, you win the series. But you make it tough for people to come into your place and beat you. Don't let nobody just come in there and say that we can get away and sneak away with one. And I like these teams because they're holding home court advantage, and they should. Everybody always say, if you do really well at home, Brendan, and then split half on the road, you're a great basketball team. Right. And that's what I think that these teams are doing. They're holding up their court at home, and then on the road, they have to be at least 500 for them to be a really, really good basketball team.
Yeah, I just like the fact that these teams are taking advantage of being at home. And being at home, it's a lot easier to play. Because you're not on the road, you almost have to bring your own motivation. No one's going to cheer for you except your teammates and yourself. You have to be a band of brothers. But at home, you mess around, you get on the road, you get that crowd behind. You know what that feels like, GP. Yep. You just get this natural energy, and it gives you a little something more. So being at home, especially for the role players, so you were a superstar, I was a role player. So being at home, especially in playoff series, those type of things really matter. Because we need that. We need the crowd. See, you didn't need all that. I needed all that. I needed all the extra energy. I needed all the fans with the signs. I needed the guy up in the 400 section.
Yeah.
Waving, I needed all that. So, and that's one of those things that can help you. So you like the fact that Philadelphia, Miami, these teams, they're taking advantage of having that home court.
And it's just, Steph, it's just like what the Seahawks do. The 12-man, it's a 6-man in our game. In our game, it's a 6-man. And if you got that crowd going, as you know in football, they can't be hearing in their home court. If they got that going all the time and fans always in your ear and chanting, that disrupts your game. And sometimes it's hard for a person to just zone that out. And that's what they got now. It's a 6-man because they get their crowd so into it, and then when they're in a slump, that crowd gets them motivated. It pumps them up, and then it gets them to start playing basketball.
I love it. Great perspective too, Brendan. I love it when you know who you are.
Listen,
that's terrific.
There's a difference between a role player and a superstar. Role players, we need all the help we can get.
I love it. All right, so we're going to chat a lot more about these home teams playing, but in the meantime, we have a special guest joining us, Serena Winters, who covers the Philadelphia 76ers. Serena, thank you for joining us. I want to quickly get to Joel Embiid. He had 7 turnovers in the last game. Is he at all concerned about that, or is the coaching staff concerned?
Well, I think if you followed the Sixers and Joel Embiid last season, this is something that has come up, right? I mean, it is an area of his game that he has to improve. And to say that it wouldn't be a concern, I'd be lying to tell you that. I think it is something, especially down the stretch, Stephanie, when you look at fourth quarters, when you look at those big moments, staying composed, knowing when not to put the ball on the floor, that's certainly something that they're working with him with. And look, it is something where in those late game scenarios, and maybe we could have one again tonight, it's something to watch out for.
Certainly, and we talk a lot about Ben Simmons in this league. He's obviously a premier player. His skill set is above most, right? He's above average. But they always talk about his jump shot. And we're starting to see it come along. We've seen him take a few threes already this season. How important is it for him? And I mean, does he worry about it? Is he concerned about that jump shot?
Well, I think in terms of adding that to his game, it's just going to open up the game for him. And I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't just going to make this team better at as a whole. I think it's something, though, that, look, you ask me about it, people ask me about it all the time. I understand it. I live and breathe it every day. We're always going to be asked about Ben Simmons' jump shot, but also look at what he can do on the other end of the floor. Defensively, he has upped his game this season. But back to your question about the shot, what I like is that Brett Brown has challenged him to say, hey, we want you taking a minimum of 1 3-point shot a game. We want you to add that to his arsenal. So look, I think it's something he's certainly thinking about, he's working on, he knows it will improve his game if he can add it. So I hope to see him keep trying to hit those shots.
I love that. Tobias Harris, he is one of the pieces that was added newly in the middle of the season last year. It seems as if he's completely acclimated and he's taken ownership of this team. What do you think about his contribution?
You know, it's interesting, Stephanie, because to start the year, Tobias Harris was going through quite a bit of an offensive slump. He was struggling to hit from three. When I say struggling, it was something like 1 of 22 from deep. And for a shooter, that is tough. Since then, Stephanie, since he has found his rhythm, found his groove, since mid-November, he has been nothing but consistent. And there's something when you watch him, when he's not forcing anything, he's kind of just playing in the flow of things. It just comes to him, and there has been so much talk about who is going to be the closer on this team. Is it Joel? Is it Tobias? Who is it? The fact is, it can be anybody, any given night, and with what we've seen from Tobias, he has really stepped up on both ends of the floor, and if you've been watching him, there's no way you can't be impressed.
I love it. Last question for you, Serena, before we let you go. We know you're going to be busy tonight. Matisse Thybulle, the young player that the Sixers have, is coming along nicely, only averaging 4, but last game had 20. Can we expect that we'll see more production from him?
I got to tell you, it has been so much fun to watch Matisse. And if you've been watching the Sixers team, you've been seeing that he has been getting not just minutes, but minutes in clutch scenarios. You can see that Brett Brown, the coaching staff, is trusting him as a rookie. What that tells me is that he has the skill set that they could see could potentially be used in the playoffs, in the postseason. Otherwise, why would you be giving him these valuable minutes? With that in mind, to look at where he already is, defensively, we knew he had that in his game. We knew that in terms of if he was on any draft board. What we didn't know is how confident he would be in knocking down a three-point shot. And to see that, that's huge. And that can be some of the difference between, as a rookie on the court and making yourself valuable, is when you've got the people around you that know, hey, you're open for that corner three and you're going to hit that. He's got the confidence to do it. Very impressed with Matisse Thybulle.
We've all been impressed here, too, at the warm-up. He had 5 threes last game, so we're expecting a lot more out of him. Serena, we appreciate your time. You're welcome here anytime.
Thanks, Steph.
All right, so I know that you in particular, Gary, we've talked about Thybulle and his contribution as a young player. I think Serena hit it perfectly. She said he's more mature than a typical rookie. Can we expect that we'll see this sort of contribution as the season continues?
Well, you know, he lost his mom some years back, so he had to grow up when he was in high school coming out to go to Washington. That's my agent's godson, and my agent then took it upon himself to adopt him and his sister and raise him. Yes, he did grow up, and when he went to Washington and he stayed the 4 years in Washington, I think that was a big thing for him to grow up and see how that he had to become a man. So I'm not really surprised about him going into Washington. I've talked to him a couple of times, and he was so scared about coming into this and saying it's so different. I told him to relax, just go with the flow. I said, go with the flow. You're going to get with the big boys. That's going to happen. He's going to go with the flow. You got Harris who has took him under the wing. You know, even Ben has took him under the wing. I think he's on the floor because the simple fact is he's a great defensive player. He can lock down, and now he's sticking that jump shot, which they didn't think he had. They didn't think he had coming out. And now he's being consistent with it. Yes, Coach Brown is more confident in him, and he's going to pick up a steal. They traded up for this kid. They traded up for him in the first round to get him at 21. So they knew what they were getting. They knew what they were getting. And so I think this is not a surprise to me. I think you're going to see nothing but more great things from this kid.
I really like his game as well, and he's what the league is all about, Gary. If you're not going to be a star, the best thing you can do to get paid is be a 3-and-D guy.
There you go.
If you can be a guy that can hit threes, that's what he's doing right now. He's shooting the ball pretty well this year, 44% from three. But then the defense, and the defense was his calling card at Washington. He brought that with him to the league. If you can be a guy that plays defense and knows your role, hits that corner three, teams will always have a role for you. There'll always be a spot for you because he can do all the dirty things you don't want the stars to do. Hey, I'm going to put you on their best player. We want you to take him for a little while, wear that guy down. And there's always going to be a spot for a guy like that. And so I like the fact that coming into the league, he knows exactly who he is. Yep. One line I always hear from players that play for Doc Rivers, they say Doc Rivers says, be a star in your role. Mm-hmm. He isn't going out there trying to take the shine. He's trying to be a star in his role, doing what he does best. And that's why we're starting to see him play better.
I love that.
Especially at his size. Yeah. At your size is 6'7", 6'8". You got to be like that in long. Mm-hmm. You can dominate a game like he does. And that's what it is. And he plays his roles as a star.
You just like him because he's a young guy that plays defense.
There it is. I love him for that.
I know you are about to. They didn't call you the glove for nothing.
Yeah, I love him for that.
Longest home winning streak to start a season. 76ers franchise history is what we're looking at here. At the bottom is the current season. They've got 12. They're working on building that up. And if you look at their schedule, they have a chance at extending that lead, especially when you consider who their opponent is tonight. They're not playing great.
Well, like I said, I picked this team to come out of the East. I really do. I think they can.
You sticking with that?
I'm sticking with it. I still think that they can beat Milwaukee in 7 games. I still can think that because I think they have a lot of more pieces. I think if you slow down the Greek the Freak, you can beat that team, and Toronto showed that last year. There might not be another Kawhi there, but you got a Thibault there that you could get in there, and he can take over for that. Yeah. I think he's got that big enough, and by the time that if they come and play each other, I think he'll be more seasoned.
Right.
He'll be seasoned to go into the playoffs and have more time, especially when he's getting time now on the floor. He's getting more confidence, and he can be that guy. They shut down Greek the Freak, they will be okay. They will be okay because they got Harris, they got Simmons, they got Embiid. They got more weapons to me than Milwaukee does, and I think they can beat them.
Philly's fourth when you look at defensive rating, so they have been consistent on the defensive end.
Yeah, Philly has been consistent defensively, and they're going to need that defense tonight because of the way Denver plays. Now, I know Denver hasn't been playing great, but Denver is a unique team because they have a .5. They have a center that does the dribble handoff. Right. When you talk about the Joker, he's able to pass the ball from the top of the key, allow guys like Gary Harris and Jamal Murray to play off the ball. That's a unique look. Most centers can't pass the way he does. Most centers don't have the complete game. You see that he has the jump hooks. He has all the finishes inside. So we're starting to see the Joker play a little bit better. The last 2 games, you see it right there, 27 points in those 2, shooting a good percentage from the floor. He needs to play better. He started off the season a little bit slow. He looked a little bit heavy to me coming into the season. So I think he's playing his way into shape. As the Joker plays better, I think this Denver team will play better. And I want to see how the Joker's going to attack this matchup tonight playing against Embiid, because this is basically the battle of two of the best big men in the league.
Yeah, and Denver was slow, and they were up and down because of his play. Like you said, B, he was out of shape. I think he's getting in shape.
Yeah.
If you can see him now, he's more slimmer, he's skinnier now, and now he's starting to play. He was struggling. He averaged 16 now when he was averaging 20 last year, and now he's getting back to himself. And you know that they go through him on that block, not the block, but the high post right there at the free throw line, and he gets it to you whenever he can because he's that great passer like that. And this team has to pick it up. I think they can't get too far behind in this Western Conference.
Talking to somebody I know in the Denver front office, they said they'll really know the Joker's back and ready and playing in shape when you start seeing him give you multiple efforts on the glass. When he starts getting back to that, that's when they know the big boy's ready.
Yep.
I love having an indicator. Thank you for that. Something to watch for fans at home. Jokic does lead the team in assists that we mentioned that earlier.
Yo, where is Gary's neck, man?
Y'all gotta stop that picture, man. That's not my neck. It's just like you just put me in a suit,
they
man.
Put Gary's head on somebody else's body, man.
Man, that's my suit, but God, really.
Fans, to participate, make sure you tweet us, okay? Tonight we've got, as you can see, Brendan Haywood and Gary Payton on the warm-up. Ask your questions.
Tweet me if you can find GP's neck.
Oh, my goodness. Use hashtag the warm-up, please, so we can find you. You might make the show. There's a look at Bradley Beal. Boy, he's been something this year. He's averaging a career high in both points with 28 and assists with 7. Still not enough for his Wizards.